I'm now going to invite another speaker, a distinguished speaker, Ramesh Natarajan, and he is very well known in the Indian battery industry, has been again speaking in many forums. I have heard him also, and he's a hands-on expert. And his classic book, Batteries Demystified, is something which you all should read. A small book, but plenty of information. Even a housewife or a school-going child can read and learn so much about that book. Batteries Demystified. And Ramesh is certainly a great expert, well-known industry expert. And I'm going to invite Ramesh Natarajan to come forward and deliver his presentation. Ramesh.
Thank you, Mr. Pugadanti. Thank you very much, ILZDA, for giving me this opportunity to make this presentation. And I'll start my presentation. I'll share my screen now. So the topic today is what to choose, ACC or PCC. Now, ACC is the advanced cell chemistry about which we'll talk first. Now, in the advanced cell chemistry, we have various options like lithium ion, sodium ion, zinc air, aluminum air, zinc bromide, or some other technology. I think I'll put this off. It's not very clear as of now as to what will be the technology which will be adopted finally. But as of now, it seems to be lithium ion. Now, in lithium ion, we have the applications of mobile, medical devices, digital cameras, laptops, and all these for a very long time. And these are very successful. We have no problem with lithium ion battery in most of these segments, except for a few cases of these Samsung mobile phones, which did give a problem in between, but they have got sorted out. But the lithium ion, when it has come into two-wheelers, three-wheelers, four-wheelers, AGVs, and all these places, we find a lot of problem with two-wheelers and now with four-wheelers also. Anyway, the advantages of lithium ion are known to all, and I will not dwell on it for a long time because this quick recharge, better mileage, opportunity charging, and all these have been the reasons for the success of the lithium ion anyway. But the disadvantages of the lithium ion are mostly related to safety. It's a factor which is of concern mainly because lithium ion batteries, when they catch fire, they vent out hazardous gases once they explode or catch fire. The main gas is carbon dioxide, but the gas which is problematic is hydrogen fluoride. What happens is when hydrogen fluoride mixes with moisture, it creates hydrofluoric acid. This is destructive in nature, and it can reportedly cause blindness with destruction of the cornea. Now, on 8 June, 100 vehicles in Delhi caught fire in the electrical vehicle charging station, out of which the 30 new e-rickshaws were there and 50 old e-rickshaws were there. Though the department says it's due to a short circuit or some problem related to something else, but possibly the e-rickshaw, one of the battery of one of the e-rickshaws or some electric vehicle would have caught fire. That seems to be the cause of the fire. Now, yesterday, there was a fire of a Tata Nexon in Vasai West near Mumbai. And today morning, Okinawa scooter showroom has caught fire in Naguri in Mangalore. So in this month itself, there have been a lot of fires connected with electric vehicles. So safety is a matter of concern. And what has happened is the electrolyte also contains lithium salt in an organic solvent. And this is also highly inflammable. So what happens is the electrolyte is also inflammable, and we have the gases which are also deadly, which are very dangerous. The toxicity due to the gases and the electrolyte is a matter of grave concern, and it poses a serious health risk. There are a lot of studies going on, and probably they will address this issue. As far as the incidents of fire are concerned, what has happened is they have been saying that most of the fires, especially in the electric two-wheelers, are due to charging. But what has been found by a research report is that 17% of the fires are during the regular driving and 20% in case of a crash. And of course, water should not be used. And even for the forklifts and all these vehicles, wherever they are putting lithium ion batteries, they are specially telling not to wash it with water, especially where the battery is installed. So now you see that 25% are only due to the charging, but you have about 37% when the regular driving takes place or in case of a crash. So this is also worrisome. There was a fire with a Tesla car, and to put off the fire, they required 10 tanker loads of water. As against in an internal combustion engine, you require only about 300 gallons or about 1,000 liters of water. That is about 1/10 of a tanker load of water. Now, water should not be actually used for these fires, but anyway, it at least cools and puts off the fire, and that is why water is used. But actually, the fire equipment to be used is AVD. It's a aqueous vermiculite dispersion. Another problem with lithium ion is with the availability. Now, if we see, if the demand is going to remain high and if the supply is either low or same, the price has to go up. And there is no possibility of the demand going down. In fact, the demand is going to increase, and this is going to be one more problem as regards lithium. The mines exist only in Argentina, Bolivia, and Chile, and there are some mines in Australia too and China. But the cobalt required for making these batteries is mainly found in Congo. And these prices of all these things are continuously going up. Especially lithium has gone up substantially, though the requirement of lithium in a lithium-ion battery is low, but still it is worrisome, and the prices are going up continuously. Another disadvantage of lithium-ion is BMS is a necessity, and these battery management system and sensors connected to the battery, they have a limited role to play, and they are ineffective once the battery has gone into a thermal runaway mode. What the battery management system does is, it takes care of the charging, it takes care of the thermal management of the battery, and they are some of these battery management systems are not able to handle the regenerative energy coming back from the electric motor, because the reverse energy which comes back is not a regulated flow of energy, and this slowly damages the BMS. So the battery management system has to be very good, and the sensors also have to be of a good quality, and there has to be branded MOSFETs and ICs used in a battery management system. So the battery management system, whatever is going to be used for this, all these batteries, they have to be of a good quality. And this is a very important, it has a very main role to play in the safety of the batteries. Cost is, of course, a deterrent. Recyclability, resale value, and scrap disposal. These are also problems. Now, these are the gray areas when you come to lithium ion. They say it is recyclable, but where is it being done? And what is the method and process? And recyclability is an issue because in lead acid batteries, almost 85 to 90% is lead in various forms. Though we say 65%, that is 65% is the cost of the battery. In a battery, 65% is the lead cost. But if you see the content, it is anywhere between 85 to 90%. The grid, the oxides of lead, the connectors, the pillars, the bus bars, terminals, all these constitute anywhere between 85 to 90% in weight terms. The non-lead components by weight is less. That is containers, covers, separators, vent plugs, and in the case of tubular batteries, the tubular bags. Yet, the separation of these are very difficult, time-consuming, laborious, and at a very substantial cost. So even refining of lead is a costly process. Now you consider what is going to be the economic feasibility and practicality of recycling lithium-ion batteries, which have so many components to separate. Now, if you have lithium, cobalt, nickel, manganese, graphite, and separating all these is going to be a big problem. So that is why recycling of a lithium ion battery is going to be a very costly affair, and it's not so simple, and hence not going to be attractive for many people to set up this facility. The resale value is not defined. So when any battery is being sold, if the resale value is not defined, and probably there is going to be no resale value, that has to be added to the cost. In the sense that, suppose you are having a battery of lead acid and you say it's costing you 100 units. Okay, when you sell it, you're going to get about 15 to 20 units back. So basically it is going to cost you 80. As against here, it's going to be total 100, because you don't know what's the resale value. There probably won't be any resale value for this. The third is, there is a possibility that the scrap collection can cost you some money at the time when you want to dispose of the lead acid battery. It's just like a medical waste or an e-waste. So there is a possibility that you may have to pay for this scrap which you want to dispose of. Now, there are a lot of people who are already making lead acid batteries and who are thinking of getting into lithium ion batteries initially as a way of getting into trading and something like that. But what one has to be careful here is, if you're going to do a trading, you have to be very careful as regards the back-to-back guarantees from somebody who is selling this battery to you. Because the trader or the distributor who is going to make you a trader, it's not very sure whether he's going to be in that line. Tomorrow, you are the front person who is selling the battery to the end user. And you may be already selling him a lead acid battery also. Now, if your lithium ion battery gives him a problem, he's going to approach you. And if the distributor who sold the battery is not going to give you a back-to-back guarantee, or he starts saying, oh, the importer is no longer importing these batteries, and I am also out of this business, but you are stuck with this, and you are answerable to the person who has bought the batteries from you. There is a possibility that even your lead acid battery business can get affected due to your having become a trader of a lithium ion battery. So this liability is something which anybody getting into this business has to think of. Another thing is about the guarantee of the BMS sensors and what are the exclusions. Many a times what happens is the batteries, they say, is guaranteed for 8 years or 5 years. And you are even given a paper saying, okay, the battery is guaranteed for this. But then the BMS which comes with the battery may be guaranteed for a lesser period, like 1 or 2 years. Now, in case the battery fails in the 3rd or the 4th or the 5th year, oh, it happened due to the BMS, so the battery warranty is not valid. So such exclusions have to be carefully looked into before somebody gets into these guarantee matters related to lithium-ion batteries. As far as the life is concerned, this is something to be experienced. There are already reports of something known as capacity fade. There are vehicles which have come out of the showroom. They have worked initially fine, but after 3 months, the mileage has gone down. And this is because of a phenomenon known as capacity fade. Again, people talk of lithium ion, and you don't know whether they are talking of a life of a MOC or a FePO4. So all these things are also to be clarified before you assure a certain life to the person who is buying the battery from you. Now, is lithium ion a strong competitor? As of now, yes, it seems to be a strong competitor, and the proven cell chemistry is our lead acid battery. So when we do an analysis and we find out, we'll have to decide where we want to stand in the future. Now, in these areas, there's no possibility of lead acid, and all manufacturers should leave these to the lithium ion. But there are certain areas like 2-wheelers, 3-wheelers, 4-wheelers, material handling vehicles, and solar plants. In this, the 2-wheeler definitely is, the electric 2-wheelers are definitely going to go with the lithium ion or sodium ion or any other technology which is going to come in due to various reasons. Similarly, the 4-wheelers also, these will go with anything other than lead acid battery. I don't see a great future for the electric vehicles with lead acid battery. But in the three-wheeler segment, the material handling vehicle segment, and the solar plants, lead acid batteries has a good future. Now, if a e-rickshaw needs 4 numbers of 12-volt 120Ah batteries, that is a total system of 48-volt 120Ah batteries, what can be done is, now we can always supply 2 sets of 48-volt 120Ah to use one as a spare. I'll explain in the next slide how this can be done. Or the other option is to supply one set of 48-volt 240Ah SMF battery and ensure that BMS discharges battery to only about 50 or 60% depth of discharge. Now, these are the second option is something which very close to it. It's not exactly a double capacity, but with a slightly higher capacities, batteries are being sold, gel batteries are being sold maintenance free instead of a lithium ion and very close to a lithium ion cost, and they are successful. The lead acid batteries are successful, and this has been tried by some companies in Gulf, and I am aware of certain companies which are doing it. Now, in the advanced cell chemistry, you have a BMS, which is required with temperature sensors and a lot of safety related controls. If you give a lead acid battery with a BMS, which is not so costly because you don't need the temperature sensors and a lot of safety related controls, you only need to limit the depth of discharge and a lot of problems get solved. Another thing what the BMS has to do is, it has to monitor and control the charger and ensure that a low ripple goes in, a better charge and discharge current control is there, and the auto DOD cutoff is there, and equalizing is possible. If this BMS does that, and there is no need of a temperature sensor and a lot of other safety related controls, if the depth of discharge is limited, lead acid battery will definitely perform well in cycling application. Because this has been already experienced with respect to all the stationary batteries used in solar applications where the depth of discharge is very, very low. The batteries last for 10, 12, and even more number of years. I'm not saying we have to limit it to 20% depth of discharge, but if we bring it somewhere close to 60 or 70% depth of discharge, then the variations in the various cell gravities will not be there, and it will be possible to not have the problems which we are facing now. The second thing is maintenance. Maintenance is not required in this advanced cell chemistry. But if we use the flooded batteries with the autofill system or use SMF batteries of close to double the capacity, double the capacity may become non-cost effective, but maybe about 50 to 60% more capacity in a lead acid battery of the SMF type. It may be a gel type, but we should limit the depth of discharge using the battery management system. The third thing is chargers presently were used which were not very good and did not have filters or a good charge profile and did not have any equalizing board. Now the chargers will have to be supplied by the lead acid battery suppliers, vendors to the vehicle manufacturers. So these three-wheelers will not have a charger which is damaging the battery. As far as the mileage goes, the mileage is definitely better with the lithium ion. So we'll have to match it with either 2 sets of flooded electrolyte or a SMF battery of about 50 to 60% higher capacity, but with 1 set with a depth of discharge control. Now, when these lithium ion batteries are being used, they are replacing the entire battery of 48 volt as an entire unit. So the three-wheeler manufacturers will get used to replacing the entire battery. So even the lead acid battery manufacturers have to insist on selling the entire unit of batteries. Presently, if out of 4 batteries, 1 or 2 batteries are bad, they put 1 or 2 batteries new. And then the warranty claim comes on the 1 or 2 batteries, and the lead acid battery manufacturer has to replace these 1 or 2 batteries. That is why we have a lot of problems in the e-rickshaw segment. But if we insist saying that you have to buy the entire set of batteries and the charger from us and the connecting cables, and now they will start getting used to it. And if such things are imposed, it's possible to keep the three-wheeler e-rickshaw segment with lead acid. Now I come to the cost. Suppose the charger is costing, the charger of a lithium ion is definitely costlier than a charger of a lead acid battery. So if the charger is say 100 units, here it's 60 units. Now, if the battery management system is say 100 units, because we don't have the temperature sensors and all these, we can easily give a battery management system at say 70 units of 70% of the cost of a lithium ion. Now, if the battery is costing 150, here, even if you give 2 batteries, considering the cost to be 3 times more of a lithium ion, so you will have 150 into 2, 300. And additional cost is of the water topping up system, autofill system, which is generally about 10% of the cost of the battery. So that's about 30. So your total cost in the advanced cell chemistry comes to around 650 as against a 460. And you have a scrap rebate of about 20% of the cost of the new battery, which is 60. So here you see that the cost is 650 as against 400. So even by giving 2 batteries, our cost is lower. Now, for argument's sake, suppose we think that the battery cost is not 3 times more. And it's only, the cost is only 300. And here it's again matching and it's 300. Even then, because of the scrap, the cost of a lead acid battery will be lower than the cost of a lithium ion battery. This is provided this works, the autofill system and this. But this experiment will have to be done for us to keep the lead acid battery working. Additionally, there are some cost factors like the dollar prices with respect to Indian rupee. There's a lot of fluctuation nowadays. The dollar is becoming costlier. Another thing is we want the local government after a certain period of time will want the local buying to happen. And so they may put more import duties. And this can also be a cost factor for lithium ion. The exporting countries, when the demand in their country goes up and if the cost goes up, usually they levy additional duties like they did for steel in India. And this is also a possibility of the cost going up. Now, the opportunities for us are the buyer hopefully will be prepared to pay more and he will take 2 sets of batteries from us. He may buy a charger, BMS and autofill system from us. And always we have to insist that batteries and cables as one unit will be sold by us. As the cost goes up, what happens is the tendency is to cut costs, and this can set off a dangerous trend for the lithium ion segment. The quality usually gets affected, safety gets compromised, and there are supply chain bottlenecks also because of the material being imported, that is lithium ion batteries. So we have a possibility of all these things also working in favor of lead acid batteries. Now, when it comes to fire, this fire of lithium ion can be put off using only a special extinguisher. Actually, when you put the water on this fire, you are cooling, and the gases which are coming, like I mentioned to you, is very, very dangerous. Now, many times, even in the fire in Mangalore today, the video was there, the Okinawa scooter showroom, there are thick black smoke, fire coming out, and people are just standing there and watching. And even the firefighters today are not aware that it is dangerous for them to get into a place where there is so much of smoke coming out. Now, the only way of putting off this fire is to cut off the oxygen supply, and there has to be a blanket-like cover put on the vehicle which is catching fire. And even if the fire goes off, what happens is the reignition is possible because one cell heats up the other cell and the other cell catches fire, and then the next and the next. So the thermal runaway in one cell ignites the other cells. And the dealers and users are generally not trained to handle emergencies. And as far as the transporters and shippers are concerned, they are not even aware of the hazard due to a lithium-ion fire. So there are some areas of improvement in quality in the lead-acid battery. The cycling battery is very different from an inverter battery. So this, though people think that a solar battery or an inverter battery or the cycling battery, they are all tubular, they are the same, it's not so. So what one has to do is, there are some changes which need to be done in the manufacture. Another thing is the uniform charging of batteries becomes very important in the case of cycling batteries, because a difference in cell specific gravities and thereby the cell voltages creates problems especially when you go to a low voltage. And that is why the depth of discharge has to be controlled to maybe 65, 70 or 75%. And you shouldn't even go to 80% depth of discharge. If that can be done, 70% would be probably safe, and we may not have much problems with the lead acid batteries used for cycling application. So another thing is, when you are selling these batteries through warehouses or through dealers, it is necessary to tell them to do a charging and equalizing of all the 4 batteries. If 4 batteries are going to be fitted in series, and equalize them and sell them. So warehouse charging is something which has to be introduced. If a battery sold in May to a dealer and a battery sold in June, both are mixed and sold by the dealer, that can also create a problem. As far as the material handling segment is concerned, the energy density of lithium batteries is not an advantage. And so, because of the batteries acting as a counterweight, people are still preferring the lead acid batteries, though in certain applications, even in the material handling segment, there are a lot of lithium ion batteries being sold. But then as of now, it's restricted to around 10 to 15% and not much, because cost is a major criteria when it comes to material handling batteries, where the voltages and the capacities are very, very high. And so the cost plays a major role in the material handling segment. Thank you.